Okay, hi class. I have been asked to do a example of our bubble diagram, block diagram, foundation diagram assignments 1 and 2 for week 4. So here I've got some different ink pens and a pencil. I've got my scale. I've got some graph paper here. And I've got the map of our site. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out the size of our site. And it is 35.24 feet by 80. I'm going to go with the shortest side here, 82.29 feet. So I'm going to jot that down over here so I know 35.24 feet by 82.29, and actually 35.05. I'm going to take the worst case to do this diagramming exercise because I don't want to use the bigger numbers because I don't want my building to be too big. And then we've got a 10-foot easement in the back of the property that we know at least. So I'm going to minus 10 feet here. And then we've got a 3-foot easement on one side of the property. So at the very least, I've got minus 3 foot here. So that leaves me with 32 feet, 0.05. And I'm just going to round that to 32 feet because like I said, I'm going to adhere on the size of smaller. And then I'm going to have 72, I'm going to round this down to 72 feet here. So my effective width of my site is going to be 32 feet by 72 feet. So when I go to draw my box, my containment box for my property, I'm going to use 30 foot by 70 foot. I may need all that space and I may not, but that's going to give me a little extra play, a little extra buffer around the site. So that is going to be the rectangle that I'm going to work inside of, okay? The next thing I'm going to do, so now that I have an idea of the area, I also wrote down a program here, and you're going to make up your own program, but you should know what it is. So jot it down somewhere on the side so that you know what you're working with. You can you can check them or do, add check boxes, make sure that you've included everything that you want to include, right? So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put check boxes. And so my program says kitchen, living room, 2 bedrooms, 1 master suite with a master bath, an additional 1.5 baths, and a mudroom / laundry room and a foyer. So these are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 spaces that I want to have, right? Because this one is really 2 spaces. I'm sorry, this is really 2 spaces too. So 1, 1, 2, 1. I should have listed these out individually because now I'm confusing myself. This is 2. I wrote it all wrong. This is 1 and this is 1. So this is why this is important to do this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have a total of 10 rooms. That I'm going to do. So I'm going to start with my bubble diagram. I'm going to do this in pencil in case I want to erase and do it again. So bubble diagram. So I'm going to start with my public spaces and then my private spaces, right? So I want to have a kitchen that has a mudroom off of it. And I want my kitchen to be adjacent to my living room, but I don't want it to touch. So where's my kitchen? Here is I'm going to do M for mudroom, L for living room. And this is going to be my first floor bubble diagram, and then I'm going to have a second floor bubble diagram. Okay. So on the first floor, there's the kitchen, the living room, the mudroom. I want to have a foyer that is maybe over here off of the living room, and then I want a bathroom that's going to be off of this. So I want this kitchen living room space, maybe that's one big bubble where there's a circulation that happens here. You can only go from the bathroom to the living room. The foyer only goes to the living room, and then the living room goes to this. So maybe that is going to look more like this. LBF. Okay, and then this is going to all be one color. This is all of my public space down here. And so I'm going to separate my public and private space by floor. So I want to have private space on the second floor. And on this second floor, I am going to have a master suite that has its own bathroom and its own closet. MS for master suite. And then I'm gonna have two bedrooms over here, and maybe they have a Jack and Jill bathroom too. So maybe I really want another bathroom. So I'm gonna say, oh no, that's it. So this is one bathroom and this is a half bathroom. So this bathroom is a half. So I have 1.5 bathrooms. So there's no shower on the first floor, and then this is a full bathroom here. So full bath, half bath. And then this is bedroom 1, and this is bedroom 2. And so these things are going to be connected, and these things are obviously connected. And then I want to have a circulation path here that separates both of these things. So now I'm wondering, how am I going to stack these two things? So I could have the master suite over the living room, and the bathroom over the bathroom, and the foyer over the closet. And then that would leave my kitchen and mudroom to be over this. So I think that would actually work nicely. So I'm going to draw that. So now that I've got an idea of what I want my plan to be in these little bubble diagrams, you guys see this? I am going to I'm actually going to tear this out of my book so that I can see it. Over here, I'm going to draw this on another piece of paper. All right, so I want this big kitchen space and this living room space here. And maybe I don't want them to be perfectly connected. And then I'm going to have a foyer space here, and then I'm going to have a bathroom. Oh wait, I'm downstairs. Yes, but that's still right. So I have a half bath here. I'm going to write my words in with pencil because this marker is going to be too fat. I can see that. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to label it kitchen. And I'm going to label this living room. I'm going to label this F for the foyer and this half B for half bath. And then over here, I'm going to have a mudroom. I'm doing this kind of small. I'm working on a little piece of paper. If you can see, this is like a 5x7 piece of paper. You guys are going to be working on bigger paper, make bigger bubbles. So this is my first floor, and this is public space. Okay, and then on my second floor, kind of in the same rate, I'm gonna have these two bubbles, and then I'm gonna do a bubble like that, and then I'm gonna change the direction of my circulation this way, and I'm going to do a huge bubble over here for a master suite, and this guy is going to have its bathroom and closet connected to it, and maybe those things touch. Maybe the bathroom and closet touch. So as you can see, you might do this a few times as you're thinking about it. And okay, so now I've got the idea for my public and private space. I think that they're gonna stack relatively nicely with the master suite over top of the living room space and the other two bedrooms over top of the kitchen and mudroom space. So I have colored all of my first floor as public space and all of my second floor as private space. You do not need to separate your public and private space by floor. That's just the way that this simple plan worked out. Okay. So now that I've got my idea down, I am going to look at doing my 2-scale bubble, block, and framing diagrams. Okay, so now that I have my bubble diagram idea and I know what my program is, I am going to switch over. I've got a blank piece of paper here. If you want to use your graph paper, that is recommended. I just have this little notebook here, so I'm going to use a regular sheet of paper. I am going to grab a triangle really quickly. It's broken, I need a new one. All right, so this is my old triangle from college, by the way. See, it's broken, but it's still straight, so we're gonna work with it. All right, and so what I wanna do is wanna make sure that I'm drawing a straight line here. So I am going to, with my ruler, I'm going to use 1/8 inch scale. So I'm going to find the 1/8 inch there. And then I am going to put a couple of dots on my paper. So I want, my dimensions were 30 by 70 that I pulled from our site plan. So that's what I decided to use. Yours might be slightly different, but it should not be much bigger since our site is, the allowable buildable area of our site is no more than 32 by 72. So I'm going to start with 0. I'm going to put a little dot 68, 69 at 70 here. And then I've been doing this for a long time, so I'm just going to make a fairly straight line. Here, and it may not be perfectly straight, but that's okay because I'm going to take my dot over here on this side and I am going to do, it's going to be straight when I'm done. 29 to 30, I'm going to make a lot, that's 30 feet. And in order to do that, here's where I'm going to use my triangle because this is a perfect 90-degree angle. I'm going to line it up with the line that I already drew. And then I am going to draw from my dot, make sure I get it lined up right so I get the right size. And then I am going to, connect that. I'm drawing this in pencil lightly because these are my guidelines, right? They're not going to be, I'm not going to ink over them. I actually, if I weren't doing this to show you guys, I would be drawing them even lighter than this. Okay, and then I can do the same thing down here. You can see I'm a little bit short. It'd be nice if I used a larger triangle. Your triangle that you have in your kit is bigger than this one, so it should allow you to do it at 8th scale. Notice when I get to this edge, it's bumping around the corner. You don't want that. You're gonna wanna straighten that edge out when you're done. You don't want those weird curves on your drawing. Okay, so I'm gonna line that up, and now, okay, so now I have a lot that is 30 foot by 70 foot, right? And I know that my site goes around that a little bit, right? I've got 3 feet on this side, I've got another 10 feet down here, but this is relatively the size of my building pad that I'm gonna work with. And those of you that want more landscape, you're gonna wanna pull it in less than 70 feet, right? So if I turn this with my entry, so the thing about my bubble diagram, now that I'm looking, it's kind of square, and my building pad is very rectilinear, right? It's very long and skinny. So if I think about, well, we're gonna keep it facing the same way. If this is my entrance, so this is the front of my site here. So I'm just gonna label that front, back. And this, I'm still doing in pencil. These are notes to myself, okay? And then you are going to create your bubble diagram within this space. All right, so I am going to do that really quick. I'm going to do it in pencil first, and then I am going to do it in I'm going to go over it in marker to darken it up. So I think I want my foyer maybe to be here, and I want my living room to be here. And maybe yes, and then I want, maybe my living room's actually here, and then my bathroom is here. Okay, and then, so you see I've got a lot of space left. So I could really do a bigger program. I could add more rooms, I could add an office. So that is the difference between doing it at a little scale and doing it to scale on your paper. Because if I look at this is about 16 feet by 22 feet. And that's a pretty generous sized living room, right? Doesn't need to be very much bigger than that. All right, so make these things more round. And then maybe this is like, this becomes an outdoor patio space. And then my kitchen, I think I'm gonna have a kitchen dining room, right? Because I have so much space here. Maybe that's what maybe I'm adding to my program here. And so I'm gonna do a dining room. And then off of that dining room, I'm gonna do a kitchen. So this is messy. It's a messy process. I'm just kind of coming up with things as I go along. In your program may be more finite. You may not stray from this original program that you did, or you may see the size of your rectangle and you may want to add some things or subtract some things. Maybe your program was too big that you started with, right? And then this space here becomes my mudder. And then I think that this space then becomes my stair. That will work out nicely, I think. Okay, class. So here is where we started with the bubble diagramming ideas. And here is where my bubble diagrams ended up. So this is my first floor bubble diagram. And this is my second floor bubble diagram. So I'll walk you through each of them really quickly. So my entrance is here. I've got that called out. I come into a foyer, and then I'm moving into a living room space. Off of the living room, there's a half bath and a patio here. And I've got a semi-private, semi-open floor plan idea here with a living room, dining room, kitchen, and a stair off to the side that can be seen and accessed from this large overall space here. And then off of the kitchen, I have a mudroom, which is where I'll have my laundry and my entrance, maybe a pantry, something like that, and an exit to the backyard here. And so when I did this, I figured out I didn't need the whole 70 feet for the house. I only used, actually, I think I noted it here on the second floor, about 56 feet. And then I had the other 15, plus or minus 15, 14 feet for a yard space back here. So I thought I might do some bushes, maybe something here for a little screened privacy. And then I also marked my views. I think I want to do a view that goes straight through this space so you can see from one end of the house to the other, looking out. I've got a patio space here where you get views of the river, and I want to have an open glassy foyer with views out here, and then some views into this very nicely landscaped backyard that I have here. And then I'm going to go up these stairs. Oh, I also wanted to have some light here. So I want to have make sure I have some windows. I'm not going to get much of a view, right? Because I've got a building here and a building here, but I want to at least try to bring in some natural light to the center of the house. Notice I have my scale. I did it at 1/8 inch to 1 foot. And you're going to put your, whatever you named your property here. I just used my house for this example, level 1, and then I did a legend, color diagram legend to show my bubble diagram. And then I did the second floor, the same thing. I've got my light here at either side of my stairs. I come up this stair, and then I've got this really open space here. It's going to be big. You might set it up as an open office, some kind of open gathering space that may end up being, actually being some sort of public space in here. Informal public space. Off of this circulation space here, I have a bedroom and another bedroom, and they share a Jack and Jill style bathroom. They both will have views out looking down into the yard. And then I have this giant master suite here with a master bath, a closet, and something I added from my original plan is a balcony here that'll sit above the patio that's below it. And they can get some, so that way I can get some views out of this master bathroom looking out toward the river. Okay, again, scale, name, level 2, and a legend. Okay, and that's my bubble diagram. Now I'm going to translate this into a block diagram. To do the block diagram, I'm going to start much the same way as I did for the bubble diagram. I've got my scale, my 30 by 70 foot, and I've demarked my 56 foot that I think that my house size is now actually going to be. I'm going to add the label and the legend down here, and I'm just going to start, actually I'm going to start with the first floor one. I'm going to start with my first floor layout, and then I'm going to overlay a clean sheet of paper that just has a title block and an outline of the space. And I am going to, using my same legend color scheme, create a block plan out of this. So I'm starting to lay out my block diagram. I'm using much more square bubbles than I originally was. And I'm going to, I've loosely laid it out in pencil because I want to check the dimensions. So I'm going to start to see how big these spaces are. So I've got about 14 feet here for a kitchen. I've got another 12 feet for a dining room. And I've got another, let's see, probably 12 feet to here. And then I'm going to angle that over, and that's going to come down at about 18 feet. So it's going to be 12 feet, 18 feet by the time I come here. And I'm going to cut this angle off like this sort of, and we're going to intend to make that a 45-degree angle eventually. So I can actually see what that looks like. Now using my triangle, so I'm just going to cut that. So that is I had it more at a 60-degree angle, so maybe that's probably more what I want. Maybe I want this to be a 30-60 degree, which is going to give me more of this original shape that I have. So I'm going to keep in mind that I think I want that to be 30-60. And this space here then, here's my foyer. I know I want it to be sort of a special shape, but I'm not really, I'm just gonna kind of leave that amorphous right now. Not really sure what I want that space to be.